So good evening. Come on in. Just come on in. I know I'm late. I'm real late. This is called a case of whatever will go wrong will, and whatever
Hey,
will go
hold up.
wrong
You
did go
normally
wrong.
have logged in.
They're in. They're coming in.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I had to go use the phone. So I'm on the phone. So we're at 200. We'll get to 5, and we'll get started. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Miss Brenda. Hello to all of you. I can't even see because the phone is so small. But we're so glad to have you all here with us this evening for Friday Night Live. You know that if it's Friday night in Savannah, Georgia, and if it's during a pandemic, and you know that you don't have no place that you have to be, that you need to be at home, then you know you're like me, sitting at home. And so we do our our weekly date night on Friday evenings where we just talk about things, people, and places that are important to the people of Savannah. I'm so glad that you've joined me again. Please accept my apologies. I had no power at the house and came to City Hall, and everything's acting up over here. But I think you will find that it is worth the wait for the guests that we have on tonight. And I appreciate you all taking the time to join us here on Friday. And the weather was bad. I hope that everybody is doing okay in the midst of this bad weather. So again, we're glad to have you here with us. Glad that you are spending your Friday evening. There are plenty of other things you could be doing. We really don't want you to do them. We rather you just be at home, socially distancing, loving the people you love from afar. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're right at about 500, and folks will join us as we go on. But I'm very glad to have with us a young lady who really needs no introduction in our state and really across the country. She is someone who has distinguished herself before her current role, but she has really taken leadership of our nation and leadership definitely of our state. And she has been someone who we've looked to for strength, someone we've looked to for assurance, and she's our friend. She is the 60th mayor of our capital city. And again, don't worry about how all this stuff looks because, again, we're improvising. But we're glad to have with us the mayor of our capital city of Atlanta, Georgia, Keisha Lance Bottoms. Madam Mayor, good to see you.
Well, wait a minute. Now I don't know how my framing is.
You looking good. We got you. We got you. We got you.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. How are you doing? I mean, dang, it's been 8 months. 6 months, but it's been a crazy 6 months.
It has been, and I just want to begin by thanking you for your leadership and for everybody who's tuned in. You all should know what a strong mayor that you have, and I'm sure you already know that. But somebody who's so courageous and forward thinking. A lot of what's gotten me into the news lately, and I was just finished up with Anderson Cooper talking about the mask mandate and the lawsuit from Governor Kemp, was because I follow U-Ban with the mask mandate
Right.
you put in place in Savannah. And I say all the time, leadership sometimes is about leading and other times it's about following. But when you follow, you got to make sure that you're following the right people. And I knew that you knew what you knew when you put the mask mandate in place, and it was very beneficial for us in Atlanta to be able to watch your leadership in Savannah, what you were doing, stepping out there out front, knowing that you were taking on the governor and the state and all that entails. And we were able just to ride your coattails with that. So I appreciate you so very much, and I hope that the people that you represent know what a great leader they have in you.
Well, thank you very much. But answer me this, riddle me this. Savannah was first, but you're the one that got sued. Obviously, and as you know, we well forecasted that there might be some legal action but we expected it would be against either Savannah or all of us. But it was personally against you, the city council, and the city of Atlanta. And I'm still trying to figure that out. Why?
That's $1 million question. And the irony of it, when I followed you, I said, okay, the water is safe. Let me get in. Van and Savannah didn't get sued. So I know it's okay for Atlanta to step out and do this. And then I got sued personally.
Right.
Hey.
And please explain that to people, because people think it was just you and your capacity as mayor. But the lawsuit was also you and members of council personally.
Yeah, so usually when you sue about something related to your duties, at least it will have the city of Savannah or city of Atlanta in the lawsuit. But this is not the state of Georgia versus the city of Atlanta. This was Brian Kemp versus me, Keisha Lance Bottoms, and then individually named all of our members of the Atlanta City Council. So the whole thing has been, the best word that I have is bizarre. I wish that I had a more extensive vocabulary to come up with a better word, but it's been quite bizarre.
Right.
From the filing of the lawsuit to the suddenly dropping the lawsuit, to the misrepresentation of what the city is doing. The governor has publicly said in his statement, which is really troublesome to me, it's either intentionally misrepresenting the facts or a complete lack of understanding of the facts, both of which are very concerning. But in Atlanta, we had an advisory commission that made recommendations on reopening plans based solely on metrics and data.
Right.
Depending on where we are with infection rates, depending on where we are with ICU beds, a bunch of different metrics, we could be able to move forward in the 5 phases of reopening, or we could move backwards. We had moved to phase 2 of reopening. The numbers started going back up in Georgia with COVID-19. We moved back to phase 1. So the governor has claimed that I have rolled over on the reopening and pulled back the reopening, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. What the lawsuit failed to recognize on a very basic level is that these were always voluntary recommendations. We never said we were going to shut down businesses, never said we had the authority to close down businesses. Right. And if you go to our ATL Strong website, you'll see it says these are voluntary recommendations. And even with that clarity, and I reiterated it just in case there was somebody who didn't understand it like the governor didn't, even with that clarity, he continues to push this narrative that I was trying to shut down businesses in the city. So it's very Trump-esque. Right. And that's very disturbing to me, especially since we're having this statewide conversation on are the stats and the data that we're getting, is that real? Right. Or is it something that's made up?
Right. So, I mean, this became very real to you. You contracted COVID-19. Your husband had COVID-19. Your son had COVID-19. And yet you're still in your home quarantine, working every day, still fighting for someone who would say, well, we're not going to do tours at the governor's mansion. Or, you know what, people will do the right thing. What were your thoughts as you were going through this and you actually, I know that your husband was a little worse off than you and your son. But, how did that make you feel?
Van, I'll tell you the grace of God is sufficient, because even as I was reading the paper today, I saw a story about someone, I think in South Georgia, that never even had a fever, 42-year-old man. His only symptom was that he was vomiting. Right. And he ended up dying of COVID. So, with it was shocked that it hit my house. I'm like, how in the world did this happen? Right. But we are a typical story across America. There's an asymptomatic teenager in the house. what made our situation even worse, we had all been tested, just as a matter of course. We had
Right.
all gotten tested. Those results didn't come back towards the weekend. That was on a Monday. By the next Monday, I just noticed my husband was sleeping more than usual, which I thought really strange.
Right.
We ended up getting tested again. Those results showed that I was positive, my husband was positive, my son was positive. When we got the results back from the previous Monday, at that time, only my son was positive. So had we gotten those results back in 24 to 48 hours, like
Right.
we should,
Right.
my husband and I likely wouldn't have been infected. And then the other part of that, my husband's still having all the lingering stuff that people talk about with COVID. The migraines, muscle
Right.
fatigue, all these lingering things that you don't really know what that's all about. So how did it make me feel? You know, it angers me because this is killing people.
Right.
And we're in a state with leadership that's acting like it's no big deal, that it's more important for us to get back to business as usual. And I know people need to work
Right.
and people are out of work. So I completely understand that. But that also means we got to make smarter decisions to allow people to be able to get back to work. And I know Governor Cuomo came and spent some time with you.
Yes.
And you look at what happened in New York, they buckled down for a while,
Right.
but now they are able to reopen and send kids back to school. And just that's where we should be and could be in Georgia, because we had the plan laid out for us. We saw what
Right.
happened in New York. So that frustrates me.
So how is Atlanta today? I know, today was one of our deadliest days, or yesterday. How is Atlanta proper doing in terms of the COVID, in spite of all this going on?
Yeah, I was looking at our numbers today, Van. Our infection rate is around, or our positivity rate is 13%.
Right.
You know, ideally it should be somewhere around 5%.
Right.
ICU bed availability is below 15%. So, we're still not where we need to be.
Right.
How are you all doing in Savannah?
Well, our numbers are still going up. They have kind of, I won't say plateaued, but they're not as increasing as fast. We had a 7-year-old to pass away, and actually the first Georgia doctor that passed away from Americus, who's actually is from Savannah and passed away in Savannah. And so we're seeing more and more real examples of people we know and people who are suffering from this. And then, like you said earlier, the after effects of this. You don't just kind of get it like a cold and walk away. There are lingering side effects and after effects that occur because of COVID-19.
Yeah, and that was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
About the child who passed, and I cannot imagine. I just don't even want to imagine that for that family. And I just read about the doctor
Right.
That they thought that he got it helping an elderly
Right.
patient to his car. So it's, that's just this reminder that none of us are safe, and
Right.
none of us can take anything for granted, because any encounter we have could be the encounter that infects us. And for some people, obviously, it's deadly.
Well, finally, and looking ahead again, I appreciate you. I know it's been a long day for you, and I know you're still doing work. So the lawsuit has been dropped, but we understand there will be a new executive order tomorrow, and that doesn't make any sense to me. What is your thought about in the song? I mean, I guess we're leading in Georgia for the wrong things. We make the top of the news for all the wrong stuff. What is your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, Van, part of the reason I was hoping that the governor and I could come to some type of agreement, because we are looking bad nationally. It's the reality that people are dying in our state. That is real, and that is the utmost of concern. But also nationally, our state just doesn't look good.
Right.
It doesn't look like we have solid leadership in the state, and that and we still have opportunities to make right decisions. So when I look at what the governor is doing tomorrow, it's still that's still not helpful. But I know our mask mandate stands, your mask mandate stands,
That's right.
and at the end of the day, people just have to do the right thing and think about the doctor in Americas and think about this child in Savannah, and hopefully, in thinking about people, that we will all make very unselfish decisions to save other people's lives.
Well, Madam Mayor, I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship and your support of the city of Savannah. We realize we're one Georgia and we have to work together. But I would have to say this, or I'm going to get in trouble. This sorority that you're a part of, my internet on one particular day almost broke down. I got so tired of the red all over. Tell me about Delta Sigma Theta and why they felt that they had the nerve to be able to shut down our social media, all in support of you.
Because that's what Deltas do. That's who we are. And you come for one Delta, you come for the whole Delta nation. So I love Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. To all the Deltas out there. And I appreciate the support, but this is not new to Delta.
Right.
The women's suffrage movement had a contingency of Delta women marching in it.
Right.
So this is who we were created to be as an organization, and we're still living up to that creed. So
well, you are,
I appreciate my sorors, and thank you for recognizing.
Oh, I do, because right now, I mean, they're blowing the hearts are coming up all over the place on the feed. So, you say Delta and they just go crazy. You were on the short list for vice president. A little disappointed that you were not chosen, but also a great woman was chosen. But tell us a little bit about that. I mean, it must have been an honor just to be on that short list.
It was, and I'm but he did make a great choice. Obviously I was very disappointed it wasn't me. I'm not like I was. Just the experience of going through the vet and, out of 330 plus million people in America to be on that list. And it was a real vet with multiple interviews and giving documents and interviewing with him and then receiving a call that it wasn't me. I'm not there yet, but I'm like, oh, well, I wanted it. No, but it was an incredible experience to go through that. And I continue to be supportive of the vice president and now Senator Harris as his running mate, because we got to have some real leadership in this country.
Right.
And this election, two things we need people to do this year. We need them to go and vote, and we need them to fill out their census.
Right.
Don't forget, Donald Trump has cut a month off of the census.
Right.
This is an effort to suppress us. There's voter suppression, there's census suppression. So we need people to vote like their lives depend on it, fill out that census form. I did mine the other day. There's 6 people in my household. Little lady lived in the shoe with so many kids, she didn't know what to do. And it still took me from beginning to end 15 minutes. That included some papers on my desk literally catching fire because I had a candle on my desk.
Oh, no.
So even with some other stuff going on, 15 minutes flat, I was able to fill it out online. So please make sure you fill out your census. I think it's census.gov.
Right. Well, Madam Mayor, I'm not a prophet, but I do decree great things for you. I don't think this is the last our nation has heard of you. And so I'm just saying, just remember Savannah when you get to D.C. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, well, Van, I love you and I appreciate you. And right back at you. Great things in store for both of us. In the name of Jesus.
Amen. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. And again, have a great night. Please give the family and the folks in Atlanta our regards.
All right, you do the same. I'm gonna come down there and get some good seafood too.
Come on, waiting on you.
When the quarantine's lifted.
Only when.
All right.
Thank you. And we thank you all so much. That was Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, Mayor of the City of Atlanta. And again, everything is acting up right now, so I wanted to figure out a way to get her on, and we figured out a way to help make that happen. So right now, we're also excited to have another guest preparing to come on, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about, again, I'm just trying to figure out ways to make this happen. I'm trying to figure out ways to make this happen. So essentially what has occurred is that the city of Savannah, if you are all familiar, we've gotten our CARES Act money from the city. We were excited about being able to receive our CARES Act money from the city. For us, it was a major opportunity. Now, according to the federal government, because the money came through the state, and that's why the census is so important, because if we had more people, we would not have had to even go through the state government. We could have gone ahead and got the money directly from the federal government, but we did not, and so we had to wait for the state. So, of course, the state says, well, we're going to give you this money, but you have to spend this money by September the 1st. And I guess they figured that we're not going to spend it, but we are going to spend it. The other thing that I wanted to point out, and I'm very appreciative of, is that this city and the city council have decided that we want to be able to make sure we find ways to partner and put people have been suffering throughout this time. People have had very difficult times. There are people who have been in trouble who have never been in trouble before. Never. Yet they find themselves in these very strange situations. They find themselves in magistrate court. There's over 500 pending evictions going on in magistrate court. There are people who are receiving foreclosure notices on their homes. There are people whose light bills are high and their gas bills are high and their water bills are high. And there are businesses that are struggling to keep their doors open. So the city of Savannah has partnered with the United Way of the Coastal Empire and the Small Business Association, Assistance Corporation, to distribute $5.3 million through the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or what's known as the CARES Act. The 3.3 City of Savannah CARES Act funded United Way. We intend that to help residents of the city of Savannah to maintain stable, safe housing. The goal is to pay past due mortgages, rent, or utility balances accrued from March of this year to August of this year. So if you owe from January and February, we're not going to be able to help you. But if it's from March to August, we might be able to help you. You have to live in the city of Savannah. Now, usually, we're real nice to our neighbors, but in this case, what we're saying is Savannah only. We say Savannah first. In this case, you have to live in the city of Savannah to get some of the city of Savannah CARES money. You have to provide proof that the loss of income is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You must be able to provide verification of your current household income, unemployment benefits, and returning to work, new unemployment, SSI. And you have to provide verification that you're past due on your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, and then, of course, identification for people who live in the household. And so I'm very excited to have with us someone who is also a great community partner, someone who is known to the business community, has now used her considerable skills and strength to be able to help people in our community. I've always said that we are all one crisis away from being a United Way family or being in need of a United Way service. So we're so glad to have with us the CEO of the United Way, Brent Grant. Thank you so much. Again, excuse all of the bootleg technology, but I've been having real problems in here today. But thank you for joining us.
You are so much more technology savvy than I am. I'm impressed.
Well, for people who don't know about the United Way, tell them about the United Way, and then let's talk about really how you all have really stepped up during the coronavirus virus.
So the United Way, the mission of the United Way, and there are over 1,500 United Ways in the country, but the official mission is improving lives by mobilizing the caring power of communities to advance the common good. And what does that mean? At United Way of the Coastal Empire, we raise money and awareness to support agencies in delivering impact every day, every year, year after year, and then to deliver direct services where there are gaps. And in this particular situation with COVID-19, there have definitely been gaps. We
Right.
have so many amazing nonprofits, so many people working for the good of our friends and neighbors in this community, and yet still there are sometimes gaps. And these CARES Act dollars from the city of Savannah are going to help to fill the gap. We built a COVID Rapid Response Fund in March, and so far we've distributed about $520,000 to help people pay rent, mortgage, utilities, and in some cases medical expenses or child care expenses due to a loss of income or revenue directly related to the pandemic.
Right. And so people have been really gracious. I mean, even before the CARES Act money, I mean, over 500,000. This is outside of your annual campaign.
You're exactly right. And we had no idea when we started that fund on March 16th. I know we sent everyone home to work remotely, March 16th. And within that week, we were already working on our COVID Rapid Response Fund, having no idea, thinking maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Had no idea we'd be here where we are. And when we were imagining how much money we might need to raise, we were thinking $200,000.
Right.
It was just based on our limited knowledge of a situation like this. But this community stepped up in a way that really, frankly, has been inspiring and encouraging. Yes, entirely separate from our annual campaign that happens every year in the fall. But overall, about $650,000 from this region has gone into that fund, and over $520,000 has been spent, and I'm signing checks today.
And again, I think that it needs to be said that you raised 500,000. We're coming across with a couple of $1 million, and you have hired extra people because we know that you're going to be overwhelmed from people calling asking for help.
You're exactly right. With our dollars, $650,000 sounds like a lot of money. But when you break that down to all the people we know who have been so impacted by loss of employment and loss of revenue directly related to COVID, that's really a small amount of money. We had to limit how much we could provide to each individual or household, and that was $1,000. So with CARES Act dollars, I think we're going to be able to, and we're really excited and happy that we'll be able to really make a difference in the lives of people. We were able to pay 1 month's rent, maybe 2 months' rent, and that got them stable housing for a little while longer.
Right.
But we're 5 months in.
Right.
So these dollars will actually take care of 5 months of a balance potentially, so we can cover a larger amount.
And so you have a bunch of people there. And I think what people need to recognize is this, and I've gotten people calling, they're frustrated. I mean, we have, you can only be on the phone with one person at a time.
Yes.
And so people are doing their best to be able to move calls along. You're hiring, they're not more than call takers, really more case managers, people who can actually really help.
You're exactly right.
But they can only help one person at a time. So, I think we have to try to exercise as much patience as we can. Again, we're going to help until the money runs out.
That's exactly right. And thank you for acknowledging that. Our team, that is a dedicated group of women. And in this particular case, they all happen to be women.
Why is that? Now, that's not fair.
I don't know. If there's a gentleman who would like to help us, let us know. In this particular case, our 211 staff happen to be 4 incredibly dedicated women who take those calls. And we added some qualified project managers to help walk people through that application process to make sure we get the documentation that's required to meet the requirements of CARES Act funding. So it does take some time, and we're going to do our best to get to as many people as possible. That's our goal, to help as many people as possible.
So for those who, their pride is in the way, you say, hey, you know what? I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm, being needy or anything. What would you say to them?
Please call. 94% of the 1,700 people that we've been able to help so far with our COVID Rapid Response Fund that this community built with us, 94% had never called United Way before, had
Wow.
never used assistance. 94% of those 1,700 people. So I have heard from people from all walks of life, and I say, you know what, I was once somebody who needed help. I was a single mom with 3 children, and I was unemployed for a while, and people helped me, and it was very humbling, and it was very difficult to accept that help, but it has been one of the greatest lessons of my life, and at some point, then you can reach back and help others, and
Right.
That's what we're all here to do, help people.
So someone's on here and they want to call for help. Don't call at night.
Don't call tonight. Nobody's going to answer tonight.
Right.
Let me go to sleep.
Right. So they can call 211 on Monday. What are the hours?
8:30 to 5 p.m.
8:30 to 5 p.m. Or they can go online as well, right?
They can go online anytime, familypromise.org, or to our website, which you can find information, find the criteria, and you can get clicked over to an online application. So you could be doing that this weekend.
So actually, that would help expedite it.
Wait, Monday. Sorry.
That could expedite it then, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well,
If someone has access to technology and internet, they can access that application now.
well, please repeat the website one more time.
Go to uwce.org.
Right.
uwce.org. All the information is there, and you can click a button to go online to familypromise.org, where they have an online, our partners, they online application. We have been working with Family Promise, Salvation Army, Wesley Community Centers, Georgia Legal Services, and we'll be reaching out to other nonprofits over the course of this project.
Well, please, Bren, thank you for what you do. Thank you for United Way. I know when we tell people to donate to United Way, you never think that you might be the person you might be the person you might be helping. And so, Savannah is a strong community because Savannah helps people when they need it. And so this is
Very
an opportunity,
generous.
right? And so I appreciate you. When we were looking for a partner, we had to have someone that had the bandwidth, and you'd already demonstrated through United Way that you all could raise and triage and distribute money quickly and effectively. And so I just want to thank you on behalf of the city for doing that. And thank you publicly for doing that, because again, you could have said, hey, we got enough stuff to do. This is more work on your plate.
This is our mission. We could not have said no and done and been fulfilling the mission of the United Way. Thank you for having faith and confidence in us. Thank you for working with us as real partners. And I just promise you, we're going to do our very best. It may not always be perfect, but wherever there might be a slip, we are going to circle back around and fix it to the best of our ability.
Well, thank you so much. And again, I know it's Friday Night Live. I know you've had a long day. This is for us that don't have a life. We just kind of hang out on Friday nights together. But thank you so much, Bren. I appreciate you and appreciate all your leadership in our community.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
So grateful to you.
God bless. Thank you. So there it is, everybody. See, I'm back on my my wonderful technology again. From a cell phone. This is just a reminder about how we're doing it. It's a $3.3 million City of Savannah CARES Act funded United Way. And this is meant to help the residents of the City of Savannah. The goal here is to make sure that the basic support, your housing, is safe and stable. To be very clear, that we want to help with past due mortgages, rent or utility payments, and this is balanced from March until August. If you were late in January, February, that's on you. But we can help from March to August, and the reason is because of how the money is set up. It has to be for COVID-related expenses. So again, there are no household income limits or requirements, but you must live in the city of Savannah. You must be able to provide proof of your loss of income. If you were laid off or something like that, you must be able to provide verification of your current household income. You must be able to provide verification of past due rent, mortgage, utilities, a copy of your bill, a mortgage statement, or eviction notice, and you have to provide identification for all members of your household. The other thing is that we are working with the Small Business Assistance Corporation, and for that we are putting money in there, $2 million we're giving to the Small Business Assistance Corporation to continue to offer recovery loans and forgive previously issued emergency loans. So if you have an emergency loan from the SBAC, if you have an emergency loan and you basically you owe us for that, you owe them, then this money will pay off your loan, so it becomes a grant. And so information about that, I'll post it. You can call 232-4700, 232-4700, and you can apply starting on Tuesday at sbacsav.com, and that's starting on this Tuesday. And you have to be a business within the city of Savannah. So that is it. I'm sorry I didn't do my shout outs today. Again, I've been having severe technology issues, but we appreciate the opportunity. We want to thank our guests, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta, and of course, Brent Grant, the CEO of the United Way of the Coastal Empire. We wanted to give out information today, and so hopefully we've done that. Please like our page. Like this page, and please share this video. Let people know what's going on here in our community. We are Savannah Strong because we show Savannah love. We stand up when we need to stand up, and we make things happen when we have to make things happen. And so I don't know what Governor Kemp is going to do tomorrow. I mean, I have an idea. But, whatever it is, we're going to continue to keep the faith and follow the science. We're not going to be deterred by people who say that COVID does not exist. Ask people who've lost someone to COVID to see whether COVID exists or not. That is the concern, that's the issue, that's the challenge, and Savannah will be bigger. We will be better than COVID-19. And that is where we are. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do it together. We're going to do it by keeping the faith and following the science. We're going to do it by making sure that we social distance. We're going to make sure that we wear our mask, and we're going to make sure that we wash our hands and exercise proper hygiene. We can do this, Savannah, but we're going to need your help. We need your help. We don't need to be fighting each other. Our only enemy is COVID-19, our only enemy. So, there are principalities and their powers, but again, let's keep our eyes focused on who the enemy is, and the enemy is COVID-19. And so we have to stand together in order to make that happen, and we're going to need your help in order to make that happen. So, by the way, before I leave, we did reduce your property taxes just a little bit. It was just a little bit. Most of you may not even feel it, but the fact was we did roll back that rate. So, thank you to the City Council and to Team Savannah for helping to make that happen. So, appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you all for your thoughts and your prayers as we continue to move on and keep going through. We're going to get to the other side of through. So, thank you all. Again, it's Friday night. It's Friday Night Live. We hit right at a little less than an hour. But again, I'm just having some severe challenges today. So appreciate you all. Appreciate you. And as we put out information, join us tomorrow at the AAA on Mall Boulevard. I think we'll be there from 10 to 12. They're giving out free school supplies So, please go ahead and get the school supplies from AAA on Mall Boulevard tomorrow. I think I've posted it. I'll post it again. I want to thank Savannah Youth City for doing their Ignite this week. They've been in neighborhoods across the city. I want to thank them so much for doing that. And again, just for all of you being who you are, doing what you can do. Do something nice for somebody. That you don't have to help a whole lot of people. Just help a couple of people. Do what you can. All right? Thank you all. God bless. Good night. We are Savannah Strong.